rare and balanced view on politics in today's world. Based on facts, born of rationality, common sense, and logic, providing context on today's events. This is American Perspective with Rick Thomas.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to American Perspective. I am your host, Rick. So, apparently the House is in the middle of debate on this new shutdown clearing bill or whatever. And, yeah. So I guess they're debating it. I don't know what there is to debate about it. They either need to say yay or nay, but whatever. The Democrats are apparently, sorry, I got to get my, this is going to bug me. My dog tags are going to bug me. Anyway, I don't know if if the Democrats are going to try and stop they're going to try and stop the shutdown or stop the opening of, how does that work? They're gonna try and stop opening up the government. You know, all of the things that they've been trying to keep the Republicans from doing, they're gonna try and stop them from doing in the House. I don't know how that's gonna help, but honestly, I don't know how that's gonna help because, again, all they need is a simple majority in the House. So I guess they're doing the House's version of the filibuster right now. I don't know. Anyway, it's an entire mess. We'll sort of get into that here in just a few moments. Also, too, I just want to put this out there. Folks, if you're watching the socials, all of the Democrat sycophantic Borg have decided to glom onto, because literally they have no other hope, but they're decided to glob onto some release of emails from the Epstein estate. And the emails that were released, they tried to redact. And there's a couple of them that, of course, mention Trump's name. One in particular that is really big is where Epstein is replying back to, I think, a lawyer or something like that. And he's saying that Trump is the dog that won't bark or hasn't barked yet or something along those lines. And they're sitting there and they're like, they redacted the victim's name. Well, unfortunately, that same email was released a while ago. And it had the victim's name being Virginia Joffrey in it. And that Virginia Joffrey has already cleared Trump's name, both in testimony as well as a bunch of other victims have already cleared Trump's name in the Epstein case in terms of public statements. Oh, it looks like the House is voting now. My Whiskey Warrior P1s are on it. I'm sure I'll get a update in the chat to let everybody know once it comes out. But again, I just want to say this whole Epstein thing, it's a big nothing burger, folks. It is. It's a total nothing burger. We already know what we need to know about all of that. Okay? We already know what we need to know about all of that. It's just period. Just period. Okay? That's it. So, why these leftist lunatics keep trying to, smear Trump with some dirt that has already been, thrown at him and nothing has stuck in that particular case. They just keep, picking up the same stuff and throwing it at him, hoping that this time, for the 150,000th, 1 millionth time, it's going to stick. It ain't going to stick, folks, because we already know all there is to know about Trump and Epstein. Yes, they had a relationship. Yes, they were. He was at the Mar-a-Lago estate. Yes, Virginia Joffrey worked for Trump, then went and worked for Jeffrey Epstein. She claims when she went to Jeffrey Epstein that she, was forced to have sex, but Jeffrey Epstein, or not Jeffrey Epstein, but Donald Trump was not. You'll have to excuse me. I got a little thing in my throat. I don't know why. But Jeffrey Epstein, Donald Trump was not involved with any of the girls and did not have any sex with any of the girls, so on and so forth. So, I don't know why they keep bringing it up. It's like, hello, he's already been cleared. He's already been cleared. And that's just the end of the story. All right. Tonight, of course, is...
Down to business.
That's the nectar of the gods, baby.
It's like it's Whiskey Wednesday. It's like Taco Tuesday, but for badasses. And just to try and stay on Bonnie's good side, here we go. Here's a Buffalo Trace. Four Roses probably would have been better, but I didn't grab that bottle. Ugh. Anyway, it looks like it's straight down the party lines with voting. And, of course, it is being drank out of the True Grit Roots Network glass with the requisite stones in the bottom of the glass. There it is. All right. Ooh, that's always good. Okay, let's go ahead and kick off the Pledge of Allegiance. We're at the top of the order, folks, with Amy. Amy is up for tonight's Pledge of Allegiance. So if you are of mine, please stand, remove your hat, if you're wearing one like me. Place your hand over your heart and follow along with Amy as she recites the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And, of course, I thank you, Amy, for that wonderful rendition of the pledge. If you would like to hear your rendition of the pledge played here on the program, all you need to do is record yourself reciting the pledge in your style. Take that audio file, video file, whatever kind of file, and attach it to an email. Send it off to me. Send it to fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. That's fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. And if you're doing it on your phone, I have it from a very heavenly authority that if you click share, you'll get the exact same thing. You click share, you'll get the exact same thing. And there you go. So, yeah. And yes, U.S. Abby Girl posts that something will happen next week about voting on releasing all of the Epstein files. Yeah, well, okay. Again, like I keep trying to tell these people, there's nothing in it that we don't already know. So, there you go. All right. And, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Obviously, they got to get past this shutdown crap. Okay, so let's get on to tonight's headline sponsor really quick here. It is, of course, the True Grit Roots Network, TGRN. You can listen by going to tgrn.net. That's right, tgrn.net is our home on the web, and you can go and listen direct from your browser. I'm showing the two browser options right here on the screen. That's Walter Trout Blues Rock Radio and, of course, Dallas Moore Outlaw Radio. Those are our two channels. And there's the two web widgets. All you have to do is hit whichever one you want, hit play, and there you go. And you'll be able to get either one of these on your web browsing experience. But if you don't want to do that, you can download the app. There they are. You can download the app, one for each channel. And you can go and download it from either the App Store or on Google Play and take us with you. Take us with you. Wherever you go. Throughout, take us with you when you go on a walk or go party or whatever. Put us on your mobile device and Take us there. Take us with you. Play some fantastic songs and listen to some fantastic on-air personalities on both. And so there you go. You can grab either the Walter Trout Blues Rock Radio or Dallas Moore Outlaw Radio app and download it onto your phone. Don't forget that you can also grab some fantastic logoed gear. You have a choice of True Grit Roots Network logo, the Dallas Moore Outlaw Radio logo, or, of course, the Walter Trout Blues Rock Radio logos. All on T-shirts, hoodies, or caps. We got them on caps, too. There they are, down at the bottom. You can have your choice of a few different color products or color options for all of these. And, yeah, just go and grab. You know what? Just grab that True Grit Roots Network in black. Man, let me tell you, that just looks fabulous right there. Look at that. In black, right there on the T-shirt. Just go ahead and grab that. Or if you really want to, you could grab it in what's called brick. Yeah, I'm not too thrilled about the brick. And then there's pepper, which is gray. Brick is kind of a red, and pepper is a gray. So anyway, but I like the black. Get the black. Get the black. Definitely the black if you're going to do it. But head on over to shop.tgrn.net to check all of those out, and we appreciate it. We would definitely appreciate it if you would go ahead and do that. There you go. It looks like we have a vote for garlic bread with spaghetti. No, that isn't the House vote. That's just our buddy Jarhead 13. Happy birthday, 250th birthday to you, Marine. Anyway. Okay, let's get things. I got to figure out everything. I know it sounds like I'm rewinding myself, but I'm not. So, yeah. All right. That's some good Buffalo Trace, I got to tell you right there. Yep. Okay. So here we go. Oh, and by the way, just really quick on the vote in the House, it looks like, at least at the moment, the House of Representatives is ahead. Oh, Nana, why'd you have to say that? Nana pops up and says, I prefer Cheddar Bay biscuits with my spaghetti. Oh, why'd you have to do that? Now you're going to make me hungry. See, it's not quite dinner time here on the West Coast. Anyway. Well, Secretary Duffy, who is the Secretary of Transportation, yeah, he served up a truth bomb. A truth bomb. Oh, I got to do it. I'm sorry. I really got to do it. A truth bomb. Yeah, to Pete Buttigieg. That's right. Yep. That is right. So, apparently Pete Buttigieg, yeah, he still exists, and yes, he's still out there. He's still writing on X. Yeah, so, somebody put out or copied a Truth Social post from Donald Trump talking about all the air traffic controllers going back to work and so on and so forth, all of this wonderful stuff. Well, Pete Buttigieg comes on and goes, the president wouldn't last 5 minutes as an air traffic controller, and after everything they've been through, the way this administration has treated them from day one, he has no business shitting on them now. Well, Sean Duffy goes up and quote tweets that from Pete Buttigieg and goes, give me a break. You were AWOL at the DOT. You were basically AWOL at the DOT, which for those of you who are not military affiliated, AWOL means absent without leave, meaning that you were not allowed to go, but you went ahead and left anyway. He goes, he continues with that, and he says, I spent my whole day dealing with your neglect and cleaning up your messes. Sit this one out. Oh, these leftist lunatic idiots. They're out there. They think they're all the hot shit. Yeah, they're not hot anything. they're not hot anything. Anyway, yeah. So that, of course, was in response to, again, President Trump's Truth Social post about the traffic controllers getting back to work now that the shutdown is pretty dang close, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, there you go. What an idiot. Oh, do you remember Pete Buttigieg? You know, the guy that, like, wore that funky milk-laden plastic thing for his baby or whatever. He wanted to, I guess, I don't know, look like he was nursing the baby. I don't know. He's just a complete idiot. But anyway, and don't forget Pete Buttigieg, who drove to about 3 blocks away from the Department of Transportation building, and he jumped on a bike and wanted to act like he was biking to work. Yeah. Pete Buttigieg. Yeah, the guy that thought that he could run for president. As mayor, where he came from, by the way, it was reported that he barely was able to fill in one pothole. I guess leaving a whole bunch of other potholes out there. So, anyway, I don't know. It's just, it's like, seriously? I don't know. The guy disappeared. Yeah, we can't forget. The guy disappeared on, I don't know, was he, wait, in Buttigieg's relationship with his boyfriend, I guess, or husband or whatever, is he the guy or the girl? Because when they had their baby, you know, they adopted that baby, and he's wearing the pseudo milking chest whatever. He's like, is he the woman in the relationship? I not that I really want to know, because I don't, but yeah, he basically was gone. He took off and left for like 2 months, and nobody even noticed that he was missing. Anyway, yeah, that just goes to show you how irrelevant he actually is. Well, Secretary Duffy put him in his place. So there you go. So the House, of course, is voting now to end the shutdown. It was supposed to start around 7 p.m. I think it didn't start until close to 8, or shortly thereafter, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Anyway, well, if they pass this, if this passes, and it looks like there's a possibility that it will, because not only do the Republicans have the majority if they vote in lockstep, unlike having like a Rand Paul or a Senator Thomas Massey on the side. If the House Republicans vote in lockstep on this, there are 4 reported from my wonderful Whiskey Warrior P1s. There are 4 Democrats that have voted yes to open up the government. So, yeah, that kind of just falls into tonight's topic in terms of the identity crisis that's going on in the Democrat Party. But I guess 1 Republican has voted no now. Yeah, well, it's nothing unusual. That happens a lot. See, unlike the hive mind of the Democrats, the Republicans actually have thoughts. So, anyway, so this, going back to what I was saying, reopening the government, here's what's to know about the impact of it. So, just as a real quick cut, federal workers will get back pay, food aid will resume, flights will hopefully stabilize, but some fallout could take weeks to mend or potentially never recover. And so we'll just have to see. After 40 days of political gridlock, lawmakers have reached the deal this is the U.S. Senate reached the deal to open the federal government. And then, of course, right now we have the House of Representatives voting on that Senate bill to modify the agreement. Because remember, for those of you who do not understand Schoolhouse Rock, both houses have to agree in order for it to be presented to Donald Trump to sign into law. And keep in mind, too, that Donald Trump still has a shot at this thing. Okay? Donald Trump still has a shot at this thing where if he doesn't like it, he could veto it and cause this entire thing to go. And, okay, it looks like, based on the chat, it looks like the resolution has passed the House. So that means that now it's going to be finalized. The final tally looks like it's 222 to 208, with 5 Democrats breaking with their party and doing the right thing and opening up the government. Well, so roughly 1.25 million federal employees have missed their paychecks since October 1st, the day the shutdown actually began. Once Trump signs the bill into law, agencies will recall all of those furloughed staff as soon as is practicable, and begin issuing back pay for the entire shutdown period as required under the Government Employee Fair Treatment Act of 2019. That law guarantees retroactive pay for both furloughed and accepted workers who stayed on the job without pay. The Senate approved measure also reverses layoffs, because you recall that was a big deal. Hang on just a second here. Oh, okay. That also reversed layoffs that happened, that Donald Trump did. So all of that done. And by the way, I don't know. 3 Chevy asks real quick in the chat, is asking, would Trump sign the bill tonight? Potentially he could. Yes, he could. So I don't know if that's going to happen, but he could. I would say he'll probably get it tomorrow morning and sign it tomorrow morning, would be my guess. But anyway, so there you go. Oh, okay. So, like I tell you, man, I have the most informed listening audience on the ethosphere. And this right here, Nana says, it's planned to be signed by 9:30 tonight in the Oval Office. Now, why does that not surprise me? Because, let's face it, Donald Trump works like 20 hours a day and sleeps for 4. If he even sleeps. I don't even know if he sleeps. Let's be honest. This guy, he is constantly going. So if they send it over tonight, Donald Trump will sign it, and that will take care of it. So that will reopen the government, and the federal workforce will return. We'll have the economic impact, of course, where the 40-day lapse left a mark on the economy. So much of the lost economic activity will be recovered as operations resume and workers receive back pay. However, the CBO, Congressional Budget Office, does estimate that about $11 billion in economic output will be permanently lost. That's canceled trips, deferred purchases that won't be made up, so on and so forth. And they do say that although most of the decline in real GDP, which is gross domestic product, will be recovered eventually, they estimate between $7 billion and $14 billion in 2025 dollars are not going to be. So yeah, the healthcare subsidy fight is now postponed. So that was the one thing that the Democrats frickin' begged, pleaded, tried to hold the government hostage for. Well, all of that, of course, is going to be extended. Now, keep in mind, though, that the only thing that got added to the bill, realistically, was that the Senate's going to hold a vote in mid-December on whether or not to extend the subsidies. The House didn't say anything about that, just the Senate agreed to hold the vote. And there's no guarantee as to which way the vote goes. So, yeah. Anyway, we'll see what happens there. Obviously, SNAP assistance will resume. Hopefully, the lawsuits that have been going on, the unconstitutional lawsuits that have been going on about SNAP will all disappear. And then, of course, air travel is going to be the longest one. That one really is going to take quite some time to recover overall. So, anyway, Sean Duffy, of course, urged everybody from the air traffic controllers to get back to work as soon as they could to minimize the disruption. We'll just have to see. So national parks and museums are going to be expected to reopen gradually as the furloughed workers return to employment and maintenance backlogs are cleared. Federal courts, immigration hearings, regulatory enforcement is going to be resuming its normal schedules after operating at limited capacity. Small business, housing, farm support programs, all of those will restart and begin clearing the backlog of applications that are there. So it's going to take some time. And we'll see what happens here for that. Anyway, that's what's going on as far as that goes. Well, this shutdown has exposed, let's say, and I'm not talking about, like a creeper on the corner opening up his coat. Exposed the Democrat Civil War, and none other than The View had a spot on this. Well, I mean, I know we don't really like The View. I get it, but this one is kind of interesting. So we got to listen to this little part. But let's just see what's going on here.
Treat us like you've met us before. So let us tell you what's been going on. The biggest sticking point in the longest U.S. government shutdown has been Democrats demanding that Republicans negotiate to extend health care subsidies.
Okay, before we go too much farther, I got to correct Whoopi on this. She actually is wrong, and so is everybody else. Even my saying that the longest government shutdown in history is actually wrong. Because in reality, the government didn't operate at a 12-month clip back in the day. So the federal government was only open for a small window of time in the early days of the government. So this crap is, it's 40 days is the longest in modern history, but not in total. But anyway, I digress. Let's let The View continue.
That are about to expire. But last night, 8 Senate Democrats threw in the towel by siding with the GOP to advance a vote that could lead to the government reopening. And they tried to explain themselves to their unhappy colleagues. Take a look.
I understand that not all of my Democratic colleagues are satisfied with this agreement. But waiting another week or another month wouldn't deliver a better outcome.
This agreement tonight is a win for the American people. There was zero chance of dealing with the ACA issue as long as the shutdown continued. Now, I don't know, 50-50, but there's a lot better chance now than there was this morning.
This was a very, very bad vote. And what the election showed is that the American people want us to stand up to Trumpism, to his war against working class people, to his authoritarianism. That is what the American people wanted, but tonight, that is not what happened.
So, I mean, you know, 50-50 chance of negotiating health care subsidies. I just remember all of the people who were coming in and hoping that people would vote them in and say, yes, you can be this person, or you can be a judge, or you can be this. And they all said, no, we're not going to mess with anything. No, we're going to leave everything as it was. I have no faith that they're going to negotiate.
Well, you should not have faith because negotiation of health care is not a constitutionally mandated responsibility of the federal government. According to Article 1, Section 8, therefore the 10th Amendment applies. Sorry. I'm just sorry. I mean, you know what? I'm not even going to say sorry because I'm telling you the truth. These idiots, they don't even know what the heck they're talking about. They really don't. They don't even, I bet not a single one on the spew, I mean the View, has ever picked up the Constitution in order to be able to understand it. And I would also bet money that none of these people on the spew, I mean the View, has ever read the Federalist Papers. Yeah. Anyway, so they are kind of highlighting this thing that is happening in the Democrat Party. And there's some people, of course, who are saying that, Chuck Schumer needs to be replaced. They want to get rid of Chuck Schumer. Okay, fine. Go ahead, get rid of Chuck Schumer. But there's a problem. If Chuck Schumer actually gets booted from leadership, we don't really have, the Democrat Party doesn't really have any good, mediocre negotiation type Democrat to take his place. Let's face it. I personally would love to see John Fetterman as the Senate Minority Leader because he actually demonstrates an adherence to the older methodology of Democrats. He actually demonstrates a willingness to not only work with Republicans, but also not sit there and demagogue them like these other morons in the Democrat Party do. So, I honestly don't know what they're going to do. I really don't. I mean, yes, Chuckles the Clown does need to retire. Yes, Chuckles the Clown is possibly facing a Senate primary run against the darling of the New York Bronx, AOC, the bartender. I don't even know if she is a bartender. I don't know if she's a waitress. I don't even care, to be honest. But the fact of the matter is that, they don't have very many good people to think about this, to decide on all of this. So, it's going to be kind of interesting to see. So they could be looking at replacing Chuck Schumer with the whip, the Senate Minority Whip, who is basically second, just so everybody understands. I don't know why they call him the whip, but he's the second person down. And that would be Illinois Senator Dickie Durbin. So we'd go from Chuckles the Clown to Dickie. But anyway, and Dickie, by the way, has been one of the most vocal critics. One of the most vocal critics of the way the party has handled the shutdown. Now, he probably wouldn't be any better than Chucky Schumer for it. Now, the next four in line, reportedly behind Durbin, are Hawaii's Brian Schatz, Wisconsin's Tammy Baldwin, Minnesota's Amy Klobuchar, and New Jersey's Spartacus himself, Cory Booker. Yeah. Cory Booker. That's right. Crazy Eyes Spartacus. I am Spartacus himself. Yeah. Now, Schatz, according to this article in PJ Media, Schatz makes the least noise of any of them, which doesn't really mean a whole hell of a lot because they all do. But anyway. And it's calling out the fact that Schatz might actually be the worst of the group. Klobuchar is the nuts. She's the nutsiest, or the craziest. And, of course, Booker supposedly has the largest bladder in the history of mankind, or humankind, I should say. Anyway, yeah. So, I don't know. They just, the Democrats, honestly, the Democrats just don't really have a bench. They really don't. Unless they decide to look toward the crazy-ass people in their party. Because let's face it, the Democrats of today, when you have a John Fetterman as an example, whom, by the way, Fetterman by himself, I mean, he's actually being dissed now, not only by his peers, because he decided to say the reality and the truth, which is, let's get the government open and then deal with the ACA stuff afterward. Well, now, apparently, John Fetterman is being shunned, according to him, by MSNBC. So since he's broken from the Democrats, even the leftist sycophantic mainstream media outlet known as MSNBC, which will soon change to MS Now, it should be MS Gone, but they're now shunning him, apparently. His last appearance was an exclusive interview back in March. So, yeah. So even he is getting the cold shoulder, even though he actually represents what the Democrat Party used to be. I mean, seriously. That's essentially what's happened here. Is that for whatever reason that clot that was in his brain, I don't know what it did, but it freaking flipped the switch. And man, ever since he has been recovering, he's actually been a lot more moderate than what everybody was thinking was going to happen. But when you have a Democrat Party, when you have a party like what you are seeing now, and I got a couple things to show you here in just a minute. But when you have a Democrat Party that is fracturing like this, you have to sit there and wonder, they're in their civil war. They're in their own trying to gain control of the party situation. And I'm not saying that Republicans aren't either, because let's face it, when you have somebody the likes of Marjorie Taylor Greene, whom I got to tell you is gone off in left field from the Republicans and is reportedly considering a presidential run herself, potentially in 2028. And then you have factions of the party support structure like Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson, and Candace Owens and a bunch of other ones that seem to have stepped outside of the normal conservative box. Well, you kind of wonder what the heck might be going on with all of this. And the Democrats in particular, they keep moving more and more and more socialist. And by socialist, I actually am talking about grouping the entire set together, whether it's socialism, Leninism, Marxism, Stalinism, communism, all of those isms that they have wrapped all into one. Because that's essentially what we're seeing in the loudest part of the Democrat Party right now. And you're seeing people such as Nancy Pelosi retiring, Chuck Schumer getting potentially pushed out of his position, and you see these other Democrats who all they want to do is get reelected, embracing the leftist moron party, the leftist morons in the party. They're attempting to embrace them because to them, they're seeing this as, oh, this is the future of the Democrat Party. The Marxists, the socialists, the anarchists, the people who are attempting to make America anything but America. And that's who seems to be in control of the Democrat Party. So when you have somebody, the likes of a John Fetterman, who is essentially speaking what is considered to be the truth and demonstrating that, hey, he's kind of got this attitude where he doesn't even really care about what the party says, which I think is absolutely classic. To be honest, it's pretty amazing to see. But all of that, of course, is making it difficult to actually mount any sort of an attack vector against the left. Because as of right now, until this civil war kind of tones down a little bit and we actually find out who it is that wins, we are not going to necessarily know how and where the best method of attack actually exists. And believe me, if you think Mamdani, the vote for Mamdani, which I showed you the other night, the videos of the people who voted for Mamdani in New York, half of them couldn't even say anything about his policies. They couldn't say anything about what he was backing for. And that's who's voting, folks. That's who's voting. They don't even know anything about the man. They don't know that Mamdani is a Marxist terrorist sympathizer, even though the evidence is all over the place. But they don't bother researching because they are the brainwashed cult that they claim MAGA to be. And that is entirely not true in terms of MAGA being a cult. I've got some more on Mamdani here in just a quick moment. But first, let's talk about the fantastic elixir. I love this. I love coffee. I'm just going to tell you, I love waking up to coffee. And you know what? I had a problem waking up to my coffee this morning because we actually had a water main break this morning, and so even now we're sort of under a boil order for our water. But I digress. Coffee, of course, is the elixir of the morning. And, yeah. Anyway, the point being here is that if you still haven't tried 1775 coffee, now is your shot. The 1775 starter kit has dropped. There is a limited number of units available. In each unit, you're getting the bold dark roast that hits hard, the smooth medium roast, and the Vitality Mushroom Coffee, which has clean energy and laser focus with no crash. All of them are single origin, small batch, toxin-free, and mold-free. Plus, you're also getting my personal favorite, the Gold Spoon Clip, because freedom isn't scooped with plastic. You'll also be getting a frother that is strong enough not only to stir up your coffee, but will also stir up your mother-in-law's opinions. Not like she really needs any help, because I guarantee you open up that floodgate, man. Woo! And you'll also be receiving, within this wonderful package, a black 1775 tumbler. It's $170 worth of coffee and gear. Yours for the low, low price of $99. This is for the ones who've been watching 1775 blow up on Rumble and are wondering if it's actually worth it. Spoiler alert, it is. Go to the numbers 1775 and the word coffee, all together, all one word, 1775coffee.com/studio. And for those of you that don't know, the / is your question mark key. /studio, STUDIO, and grab your starter kit before they are gone. Bold beans, clean fuel, and a morning routine that stands for something, just like Rumble does. Go to 1775coffee.com/studio and grab your starter kit today. All right. Well, New York, and I don't know what the heck happened there, but New York and New Jersey are starting to realize that maybe, especially New York, maybe hiring a Marxist, give free, tax the rich terrorist sympathizer probably isn't the best bet. But apparently, New York and New Jersey are starting to lose hundreds of billions in resident income as Americans are actually fleeing to the low-tax states. Florida and Texas, of course, are emerging as the biggest winners in the decade-long migration shift that reshapes the American economy. This is a new analysis that finds that states like New York and New Jersey have lost billions of dollars from their tax base amid the exodus of residents in recent years. Also, I saw an article, too, that housing in nearby Connecticut has gone gangbusters. The real estate market there is just booming because of all the people trying to get out of New York before Ma'am Danny gets sworn in on the Quran, probably, on January 1st. And by the way, I made a comment on Facebook recently when they were talking about the wonderful Christmas decorations that were starting to be put up in New York City. Keep in mind, New York City has been the place for many movies, television shows. You know, I mean, when it gets decked out in Christmas decorations and lights, I mean, let's face it, Miracle on 34th Street, the whole Macy's Day Parade. Yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus. All of these things, I think, are set in New York because New York sort of raises the standards for the holidays. They go all out. Well, I made the comment about the fact that New York probably not going to have those anymore under Ma'am Danny. I am going to bet that he will find a way to stop Christmas, specifically Christmas, okay, the celebration of Christ's birth, Christmas in New York City when he's mayor. There's my prediction. And I'm predicting that he will do what he can to stop that because he is a Marxist, Islamist, terrorist sympathizer. But I digress. Unleash Property released a report on Tuesday that found that New York has lost a total of $517.5 billion in resident incomes from 2013 to 2022. And New Jersey has followed along and lost $170.1 billion in that same period, according to data from the Census Bureau and the IRS. The report itself covers cumulative gains and losses in each state's resident income as a mover takes their income from another state for subsequent years, not just the first year after their move. This report was covered by the New York Post. So New York and New Jersey combined have lost 2/3 of $1 trillion in net income and purchasing power over the last decade due to moving vans departing these states. This is a quote by Steve Moore, an economist and co-founder of Unleash Property. This has been one of the greatest wealth losses for one region in American history. New York and New Jersey are being bled to death by low-tax states in the South. Now, of course, the only problem with all of this, seriously, only problem with all of this is these assholes move out of New York and New Jersey and bring their voting practices to these other states, not recognizing in their befuddled and addled states in their brain that it was their voting prospects that were what happened. Just like when you have people who come to the Americans, come to America from other countries and yet want to turn America into what they left. That's incredibly stupid. So if you come here thinking that you're going to make here there, then why didn't you just stay there if you think it's so fantastic? Well, that isn't the case. And that's exactly what happens when these morons move out of these places. They go to other places, other states, and so on and so forth, and they end up voting the exact same freaking way. Just drives me nuts. They would only learn their lesson before they leave. But of course they don't. Well, speaking of what's on tap for New York City, there's a report out that Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani, his chief advisor, if you're calling 911 for an emergency, you're not going to get the police. You're not even going to get a police officer wannabe security. No, you're going to end up probably with some sort of a social worker. I'm not kidding. That's what this idiot wants. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't call 911 to be, to schedule a therapy session. I call 911 because there's an emergency. Somebody is in imminent danger. And they want a social worker to come. It's okay, so let me just run this scenario by you. I'm in New York City. I got mugged. I've been beaten. I'm laying on the ground bleeding from a head wound. And I'm potentially on my deathbed. I call 911. I say, 911. They say, what is your emergency? I say, hey, I just got beaten up. Oh, sir. Oh, this is perfect. I have a social worker who'll be out there in just a few minutes. How much you want to bet these social workers aren't even going to be allowed to carry weapons? I'm laughing because it's so utterly ridiculous. Dude, you call 911 because you want emergency services to get there as soon as possible. Not, I want the local therapist to come and talk my guy off a ledge or whatever. No. If you're calling 911, you need somebody with a badge, a gun, the ability to shoot, the ability to arrest, or I should say, you want somebody to come with a rescue unit, which, by the way, rescue units, as far as I'm aware, they don't go if the police can't secure the area. So, yeah. Yeah. I don't know what this guy is thinking. Oh, yeah. I want social workers responding to calls. So this guy, Zohran Mamdani's longtime chief advisor, Ellie Biscard Church, she wants to make huge changes to policing the Big Apple. So Mamdani, who is a Democratic socialist, he won the mayoral race. We already know that. His longtime chief advisor reportedly led a campaign proposal to send social workers to address certain nonviolent 911 calls across the city, according to Fox News reporting on Tuesday. Here's the quote from Fox News. The heavily criticized proposal was drummed up in the Ivy League-educated California native Ellie Biscard Church, a relative political newcomer affiliated with Democratic Socialists of America. Biscard Church was tapped by Mamdani on Monday to once again be his chief advisor while running the helm of New York City's City Hall, after serving in the same post during his campaign during his state assembly days. When developing the Department of Community Safety proposal, which aims to replace police officers with mental health professionals to deal with non-life-threatening emergencies with a focus on subway stations, Biscard Church reportedly spoke to mental health experts, public safety officials from other cities, and former New York City Police Department Chief of Department Rodney Harrison. The new department is going to cost approximately $1.1 billion, yes, that's with a B, billion dollars. Now I want to tell you, I don't know where they're going to get this money. I really don't, in order for this initiative. I really don't. I just, these people, I'm just telling you right now, these people are absolutely nuts. Now, notice he does say that they do say that it's non-emergencies. Dumb question, but how many people, this is more of a rhetorical question, but how many people call 911 for non-emergencies? I mean, in my neck of the woods, if you dial 911 for a non-emergency, you're going to be directed to a non-emergency number, more than likely. You don't call 911 for non-emergencies. 911 is literally the emergency number. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. What the hell? Yeah, it's 911. What is your emergency? Hi there. Yes, I am, in an argument with my neighbor about the fence that I built. Yeah, I'm in an argument. I need a social worker to come over here and talk to us, talk us down. Yeah, that's really going to help. Yeah. All right. Whatever. Well, unfortunately, the Democrat Party is succumbing to these leftist lunatics. And not saying that we on the left, or we over here on the West Coast, are going to escape this, because we're not. Seattle, Portland, LA, San Francisco, even to some extent San Diego, they're all cities that are leaning more and more left. And it actually turns out that there is a Mamdani-style candidate who, like Mamdani, is living off their parents' money. And this person, this individual, is a socialist. Her name is Katie Wilson. And she may ouster the incumbent Democrat mayor. In Seattle. Just like Mamdani, she's an inexperienced far-left mayoral candidate. She has conceded that financial support from her parents has allowed her to run her campaign in the expensive city of Seattle, and is on track to take down the incumbent Democratic mayor who has worked in city politics for almost 2 decades. Katie Wilson, who is a self-proclaimed socialist, is out front of incumbent Bruce Harrell, 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 by just under 100 votes as of Tuesday, according to the latest election results from Seattle's King County. Now, the lead has ping-ponged back and forth between the two, okay, for quite some time, since last week's election. But the race is showing that, she may end up pulling this out. Now, Wilson has been likened to Ma'am Danny, could be the latest self-described socialist to win an elected office if she maintains her current lead. However, unlike many other socialist candidates who won their elections last week, but similar to Ma'am Danny, Wilson will end up in a post charged with leading one of the country's largest metropolitan areas. And it's one of the largest on the West Coast. I think dwarfed only by places like LA and San Francisco. Seattle's metropolitan residency is among one of the largest in the United States, with over 4 million residents. Now you see why the Washington is so left. 4 million residents. Anyway, Wilson said earlier this year, by the way, folks, here's what she looks like. Here's what the two candidates look like. Wilson's on the left. They call her a progressive activist. She calls herself a socialist. Call her a socialist. She's a socialist. Damn it. Anyway. Yeah. She says, yes, I am a socialist, Wilson said earlier this year. I'm out here waving a socialist flag because I'm not a super ideological person. I'm also not sure if that label will help me in the general election, but yes, I'm fine with being called a socialist. I mean, let's face it, folks. These places that are electing these people, they're just going further left. They're already left. They're just going further left. I mean, you're basically changing what is essentially somebody could call, pink for red. I mean, it's still sort of in the same general area. Not meaning red as in conservatives. That was a bad analogy, but light blue for a dark blue. How about that? They're both blue. Who the hell cares? Anyway. Yeah. Wilson is proposed, or has proposed, like Ma'am Danny, proposed the idea of implementing government-run grocery stores. She's refused to commit to reducing Seattle's growing tent encampments. Oh, that's going to go over well. That's going to go over well. And let's see, what else? She has proposed moving those encampments on a case-by-case basis. She's also pledged to Trump-proof the city of Seattle. I'm just saying this. I seriously, you want this stuff to stop. I mean, it's going to suck. It really is. And it probably, the constitutionality of it is, well, let's just say it throws it out the window. But we should just build a wall around these places and just let them fend for themselves for a while. They'll figure it out. Anyway, her opponent, Harrell, said that Wilson is not even really qualified to do the job. She hasn't had the experiences. Harrell says, the fact of the matter is, while my opponent has ideas, she hasn't done anything. Which is exactly like Ma'am Danny and AOC and a bunch of others that are part of the Democrat political party. Harrell says she has no experience or training or ability to manage a budget, and we think the voters will see that is that running a major city like Seattle is a big job. She's advancing some plans, like our 4,000 emergency housing or shelter units, that just can't be done in how she's describing it. So you'll see the weakness in her platform, just complaints with no solutions. Now, in response to this, Wilson, of course, acknowledged that she is an outsider in the sense that she has not held elected office before. However, she does contend that she is an outsider who comes with an insider's knowledge and experience. How the hell does that work? You're either an insider or an outsider. Yeah, again. All right. So, Wilson's background apparently includes the operation of a small nonprofit called the Transit Riders Union, for which her work has included advocating for policies around minimum wage increases. Oh, yeah, that worked really well for Seattle. Many of the places that, many of the restaurants that included minimum wage started to go out of business. The ones that were right on the edge of the city, when the minimum wage thing came out, they moved just off to the other side of the line. Yeah, that worked really well. Anyway. So, yeah. Oh, and here's some more of her things. Seriously. I mean, here's some more of her things. Wilson apparently worked in several jobs as a barista. Oh, she shares that with AOC. I mean, at least they're both behind a bar. Boatyard worker, apartment manager, lab technician, a baker, a construction worker, a legal assistant. Yeah, these are all things that apparently prepare you for running one of the largest cities on the West Coast. Sure. Now, understand, I'm not saying that somebody who is outside of politics cannot get into politics because they don't know anything about politics. But let's be honest here. If you're a socialist, you have no idea of things like how the economy actually works, how things like a minimum wage will affect the economy. Because again, I point this out every single time somebody says, hey, let's just raise the minimum wage. Raise the minimum wage. Well, the minimum wage, when you raise it, increases prices. It increases cost on goods and services. And if you have multi-layer goods and services, meaning that everybody within that whole supply chain gets the minimum wage when they weren't getting it before, guess what? Now, all of a sudden, you've increased it almost on an exponential fashion. Because everybody goes and gets their cut. Everybody goes and gets their cut. And trust me, these corporations, I'm telling you, I've worked in some of these corporations themselves. These corporations will say, hey, our minimum gross profit is going to be 30%. Now, for those of you that don't know, gross profit is what you make prior to taking out all of your expenditures and those kinds of things. You have gross profit and you have net profit. Your gross profit, you have a target of right around 30%. Your net profit will probably end up somewhere about half that, 15%. So, yeah. You increase that, you increase the costs of a good and service, and what you're going to do is you're not going to change that profit margin. You're not going to change that. The corporations are not going to say, well, you know what, we've just been making way too much money, so, we really need to cut back on this profit thing a little bit, and maybe when they go and they raise the minimum wage, we're just going to cut back on the profit a little. Yeah, that's what we're going to do in order to compensate. No, they don't do that. They just sit there and they say, okay, well, we're just going to put 30% gross profit on top of whatever our cost is. Who cares what our costs are? When our costs change, it doesn't matter. Our prices change with them because we're still wanting 30% gross profit. Yeah. Anyway. So apparently I'm getting an alert from Fox News here. Not that my Whiskey Warrior P1s hadn't already told me this, but Fox News is now reporting that President Trump is going to reopen the government from the Oval Office shortly. I am not going to go to it because let's just face it, he's just going to sit there and probably, rip on Chuck Schumer and the Democrats and, so on and so forth. But anyway, I digress. All right. Well, kind of interesting to look at things like Ma'am Danny's election, the possibility of this socialist election, the White House, and also not to mention the fact of all the other like socialists and things like Bernie Sanders who celebrated all of these Marxists being elected into positions of power across the country where they were. Very few, but where they were. The White House has declared Anti-Communism Week. Oh, this White House trolls so well. They have declared Anti-Communism Week, honoring the 100 million lives lost under communism. So, yeah. Trump has vowed to reject this evil doctrine and predicted communist regimes will ultimately reside on the ash heap of history. And President Trump issued the proclamation on November 7th announcing Anti-Communist Week, which will commemorate the approximately 100 million victims who have lost their lives to communist political systems. So the order highlights the devastation of communist rule in countries around the world since its inception by Russia in 1917 by Vladimir Lenin following the Bolshevik Revolution. The collectivist ideology stems from the Communist Manifesto, which was written by Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels in 1848. It's kind of interesting. The Communist Manifesto was written by the Marxist, the founder of Marxism. I don't know, make it make sense. Anyway, common principles of communist rule include, now, which I'm gonna add this in here. Take a moment to consider these possibilities and which political party here in America, whether it's the Republicans, the Democrats, the Independents, the Green Party, I don't care, the Constitutionalist Party, whatever party you want. Just listen to these items and tell me whether or not what party this actually is. Common principles of the communist rule include destruction of family structures, the abolition of traditional societal morals, and, of course, the outlawing of religious and spiritual liberty. Now, which political party? Seriously, which political party covers all three of those? If you're taking too long to think, you are probably one of the other idiots that are out there. Let's see. So they're claiming 9:45 is when he's going to sign. And I'm honestly off at 6:30. Yeah. And he's probably not, Trump is probably not going to show up at 9:45. He's probably going to show up at more like 10 o'clock. So, honestly, I mean, I'm not going to carry it. I'm not going to carry it. But it'll be obviously after this. But again, think about that for a second. Think about that for just a second. Common principles of communist rule include the destruction of the family structures, the abolition of traditional societal morals, and the outlawing of religious and spiritual liberty. Which party in America today embraces those three? Well, yeah, I wonder. Yeah, you really don't have to wonder much. Bonnie, I appreciate that. She says, stay on, keep streaming. But unfortunately, I do have other things that I do need to do. So I can't. I wish I could, but I can't. But anyway, so yeah, of course. That is fantastic. All right, one more. Let's see. Let's talk about Rumble Premium. So one more thing, one more ad read, and then we'll move on to a couple of other feel better news stories. Other than, of course, the fact that the government is going to reopen here shortly. You've probably noticed that Rumble itself is growing fast, and it's not slowing down. They're building a real alternative to big tech that puts creators first and actually protects free speech. I can guarantee you they protect free speech, because some of the things that I said on my platforms, whether it was YouTube, X, Facebook, and of course Rumble, Rumble was the only one that really didn't censor me. Neither did X, to be honest with you, but I wasn't that big on X back in the day. So, but YouTube definitely did. YouTube censored me, so did Facebook. Anyway, Rumble is building a real alternative to big tech that puts creators first and actually protects free speech. And now there's this thing called Rumble Premium, which is an easy way to upgrade your experience on Rumble. With Premium, you get ad-free viewing across the platform. No pre-rolls, no interruptions, just the content that you came for. Plus, Premium members also unlock exclusive content like bonus videos, behind-the-scenes drops, and more from your favorite creators. Right now, Rumble is offering a $10 off an annual subscription. All you need to do is go to rumble.com/premium and use the promo code STUDIO at checkout to get $10 off the annual subscription when you sign up for Rumble Premium. Just go to rumble.com/premium and use the promo code STUDIO, STUDIO, at checkout. No ads, more freedom, and content you actually care about, like this show. That's the deal. Go to rumble.com/premium, use promo code STUDIO to get that $10 off the annual subscription of Rumble Premium. Well, with all of the shutdown stuff in the news, this wonderful news was not shown, but 101 missing children. This is in the Epic Times. 101 missing children in Memphis were rescued by the United States Marshals. Citing high crime, Trump signed an order back in September deploying federal resources to Memphis, and this is the result. The U.S. Marshal Service has located and returned dozens of missing children in Memphis, Tennessee over the past several weeks, the law enforcement agency announced. While few details were actually provided, the service said that 101 children were safely returned over a 40-day operation, according to a brief November 8th press release issued by the U.S. Marshal Service. Emily Williams, a U.S. Marshal spokeswoman, said in a statement, "We are happy that we have been able to use our fugitive hunting skills to assist local and state authorities with finding these missing children. What a testament to our partnerships to be able to work these cases together. While investigative work is tedious, locating missing and endangered children is one of the things we are most proud of." Earlier this year, the Department of Justice had said that it would launch a multi-agency effort to reduce crime in Memphis, which is among one of the most violent major U.S. cities. On October 29th, Attorney General Pam Bondi announced at the time that federal agencies had rescued about 80 missing children and arrested 1,700 people, including 126 gang members. So there you go. The administration, regardless of what the leftists want to believe, the administration is doing what the Biden administration refused to do. So, yeah. So Trump had signed an executive order in mid-September to send the National Guard to Memphis, citing its crime rate. He told reporters at the time that the deployed troops would join a special task force in the city comprising officials from various federal agencies, including the FBI, the DEA, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, as well as the U.S. Marshals Service. So there you go. Regardless of what anybody says, this president is against child trafficking, human trafficking, child sexploitation, etc., 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 which is part of the reason why the whole Epstein episode is a bunch of bunk. That's just all there is to know about that. Well, the BBC, in hot water, by the way, in hot water over the speech of Trump. Well, apparently some more information has come out that the deceptive edit of Trump's speech on January 6th isn't the only time that the BBC has done away with ethics. For years, apparently, the left has been all in on trans ideology to the detriment of women and children, and in 2021, UK health officials launched a war on breast milk in the name of trans inclusivity. And according to the New York Post, officials told nurses to substitute the term breast milk and breastfeeding for the Orwellian and woman-erasing terms of chest milk and feeding parent. That preceded a push, by the way, to let trans women chest feed children using a combination of drugs and hormones to induce a form of pseudo-lactation. And apparently last year, a UK official said that this chest milk was just as safe and healthy as the milk produced by women who'd given birth. Yeah, that actually turns out to be a lie. Yeah. Sure. So, when asked by, who is it? COT. Let me see who this is. Trying to look up I don't know what they call it, the COT, but anyway. Yeah. So, this whole thing with regards to breastfeeding and that was apparently, a misnomer. The BBC on the news piece, the presenter said in the opening remarks that transgender women's milk is just as good for babies as breast milk. It's not. That's according to a letter from the medical director at the University of Hospitals Sussex NHS Foundation Trust. The trust referred to studies and the World Health Organization guidance on it. But it turns out that that is actually inaccurate and misleading. They also claimed, the BBC interviewer also interviewed another researcher by the name of Kate Luxian, who claimed that the milk produced by men was actually of a higher quality than that of produced by women, because the study noted that it contained values of protein, fat, lactose, and calorie content at or above those of standard term milk. And by the way, that study was based on just one singular individual. Yeah. So the BBC later pointed out that even their report was inaccurate. These people. Oh, just, yeah, they want so bad. They want so bad for this to be right, and they can't seem, they've got to go against biology. I'm just kidding. I'm done with this. Anyway, let's go ahead and get on to something else. Let's move on to tonight's pet of the week. All right. We have an update from our favorite fish farmer. That's right, 3 Chevy. 3 Chevy has sent me some more pictures of his latest pond clean out. Now, for those of you that don't know, 3 Chevy has this wonderful koi pond in the back part of his property. And I got to tell you, he spent a lot of time and energy on this thing. It is a fantastic little oasis in the backside of his property. And I'm just going to tell you here, folks, this is just absolutely gorgeous. So again, hats off to 3 Chevy for this. But here is the start of the pond. You'll notice in this photo, he's got the waterfall in the back, and he has actually had toads, I think, and frogs, pretty big ones too, in the area. Here's what he says, and he sends it to me. He says, "Hey, Whiskey, here are some pictures of the latest pond clean out. We are currently at 28 fish, including the upside down catfish in the hand of the pond tech." We'll get to that photo in just a minute. That one was from a neighbor's fish tank, and he or she may not make it through the winter. There's one large frog in the waterfall. We'll get to that photo too. And he tried to hide when he saw the camera, but I still caught him before he hid under a ledge. He says, "My wife likes the pond when it looks like this, but the fish like it better when there's some algae growing on the rocks of the pond, because the pond is supposed to be an ecosystem and not a swimming pool. In a week or two, there should be good enough coverage on all the rocks again." He goes, "As always, thanks again for all the work you do on the show every day." And he signs it 3 Chevy. So let's go through some of these photos. So here we go. And there's some koi in there. And yeah, just look at this pond. I mean, it's beautiful. Beautiful little pond. And it's a nice little oasis in the backyard. I'm telling you, I'm jealous. I just don't have the energy to create something like this, but it would be fantastic. I would love to have something like this, but I don't know if I could update it, maintain it. For those of you that are on the audio portion of the program, you got to head over to rumble.com, look at all the photos. But he's got like nice little water plants and things like that in here. It's all rock on the bottom. I'm assuming that there's some sort of a permeated or non-permeated layer underneath. And there's that upside down catfish in the hand of the pond tech that has come out to drain the pond. And here's where all of their fish are. They put them in a tank so that they can, drain the pond and clean it. And there's some of the fish in the net that they had to go and collect them and put them in the tank to try and hold them. I'm guessing maybe that's 3 Chevy's feet that you see there. Anyway, so there's some more photos. Here's the pond as it's drained. They've drained it now and are, I'm assuming, getting ready to start cleaning it, or have cleaned it and haven't filled it back in yet. The waterfall not running, and some of the things that they do for that. There's the frog. The frog tried to hide, and you can see it right there. He saw the camera, and he's camera shy. Anyway, that's kind of an interesting looking frog. That frog is brown, not green. You think of frogs, you think they'd be green, but this one in particular is kind of a speckled brown, probably some sort of a speckled brown frog or something like that. Anyway, there they are, vacuuming up all of the dirt, or not the dirt, but all of the algae and things like that. They're scrubbing it, cleaning it up, getting it all cleaned out. And there you go. So there's all the photos from the latest pond clean out. Thank you, 3 Chevy, for, of course, sending that in and then showing us your labor of love. And that is tonight's Pet of the Week. If you would like to have your Pet of the Week shown here on the program, all you need to do is get some pictures, videos, send me that information plus whatever information on whatever animal or creature is within your entry. And you can send it off to me. Send it to fans, FANS, at AmericanPerspective.online. And, of course, put in the subject POTW for Pet of the Week. And I'll get you on the next Wednesday. That's our Wednesday ending of the show. And so there you go. That's what you can do. That's a wonderful way to end the show. So Pet of the Week on Wednesdays. I do not have one for next week, just so everybody knows. And that's it for me for tonight. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, head on over to rumble.com, get yourself an account. It is free. And once you are signed up and signed in, make sure that you search up the American Perspective channel and hit that green follow button to get notified every time that I go live. Also, too, before you take off, don't forget to hit those thumbs up, thumbs downs, or if you want to, because you're 3 Chevy, thumbs sideways across all of my platforms, whether it's X, Facebook, YouTube, and, of course, the aforementioned Rumble. We will see you tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on American Perspective, to an opened government. That's right. No longer talk of the government shutdown. We'll see you tomorrow night. Have a great rest of your evening, and good night, everybody.